Shalom. First and foremost, I'm going to say, call halal Yahweh Ba'ashim Yahushai, Ba'ashir Merkah HaKudash, and double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone, who taught us this truth and root well, and shalom to the hopeful elect, Yahweh Ba'ashim Yahushai, Ba'ashir Merkah HaKudash, Barakatam. It's the brother Kazak coming back at it again with another lesson. All right, and this lesson is going to be dealing with a couple articles I came across, keeping up with, one aspect of the situation between Russia and, Ukraine, the EU, and I actually did a lesson, dealing with this topic, like a few months ago, especially when that whole conflict began, and this lesson was centered around, the fact that, after that conflict began, basically the European Union, which is, the European countries that are in league with Babylon, NATO and the EU, all right, they basically, cut off the pipeline, between themselves and the Russians, and this pipeline, consisted of fuel, which Russia was, the number one supplier of fuel to, the European countries. That's why, their prices have been skyrocketing, and that probably has an effect on here in Babylon as well as to why, gas prices were going on so high. So, a few months down the line, you know what I'm saying, just keeping up with the situation. And it turns out, the Russians are, prospering without the Europeans, you know what I'm saying, without the pipeline that they had, with the European countries there. The Russians are not faced by it at all. And the reason why this is important, as far as prophecy goes, is because the scripture says that, the Medes will not regard silver or gold, roughly paraphrasing, which we're going to get that out, but you see here on this first article, all right, you see the trade income doubles between Russia and India, which India is one of their counterparts, as far as the economy goes. They formed a economic, allegiance. It's called the BRIC nations. Brazil's part of it. Of course, R stands for Russia. I stands for India. And the C stands for China. And you have a few other nations in there as well. What I'm saying, if in case I didn't name them. But basically, Yahweh Shemi Hawashai is setting the stage for these prophecies to go down, man. And it's just beautiful that way, these things transpire because, who would have thought that, a few months down the road, that the situation, as far as the economy goes, transpired like this. All right. And the reason why it's important, to keep up with the trade and financial, prosperity of Russia is because that's going to play a factor in the decision they're going to make, when ultimately Yahweh Shem Shai is going to put the spirit on them to do that, but it's going to be dealing with the decision that they make, through the spirit on destroying this place, man. All right, destroying this queendom. Okay, so we have that article. All right, then we have another one. It's going to take a little bit more time to find. Let me see. And it's a lot of, unless you notice, man, it's a lot of war, news going on, man. All right. So you see right there, Russia and China agree over a new reality. You know what I'm saying? So they, are becoming more and more in league. Now just give me a quick second as I find this second article. Let me see. Here we go again, just to, point that out. You got sanctions, being carried out by the West, you know what I'm saying? And you see the first statement right there. It says Santa Marine has proposed widening measures because the visa facilitation ban is not enough, meaning that whatever these people are doing is not enough to hurt these Russians, man. Let's continue on. I'm sure I found this somewhere over here. Let me see. Oh, yeah, there it is. Right there. Russia to become China's largest gas supplier. All right. So basically, through the spirit, I was correct, man. You know what I'm saying? It went from, the Russians basically went and found, another consumer, and through the spirit, this might be what's it called? A factor, this might be it's a word for it, but basically this could play a factor in the EU turning against America, which would be, the prophecy where it says that beast shall hate the whore, because the European Union, them European countries, that's the beast, and the whore that sits upon, the beast, written of in the scriptures, is Babylon, America. All right, so let's get into these prophecies, man. All right, we're gonna go with the book of let me see, book of Isaiah, chapter 13. All right, and let's just touch these two prophecies, and it reads, the book of Isaiah, chapter 13, verse 17. Behold, I will stir up the Medes against them, which shall not regard silver, and as for gold, they shall not delight in it. All right, now the Medes is not talking about the ancient Medo-Persian Empire. This is talking about, since it's speaking in future tense, it's talking about a future kingdom, and this future kingdom, the Medes is basically a code word for the modern day Russians. All right, so as you can see, it says, behold, I will stir up the Medes against them. Now, who's them? It's talking about Babylon, man. All right, it's talking about America. All right, continue on, and it says, which shall not regard silver, and as for gold, they shall not delight in it. You see? So right there, it tells you that they're not going to care about whatever, financial, economical ramifications their decisions is going to make. Once Yahweh Shem Yahushai puts the spirit in them, to do what they're going to do, it ain't nothing that could stop it. And ultimately, this, did this lesson to show that money is definitely not gonna be a factor in the decision that them Russians is gonna make through the spirit, man. All right, verse 18, their bows also shall dash the young men to pieces, and they shall have no pity on the fruit of the womb. Their eyes shall not spare children. All right, because them bombs, man, they go off, man. Ain't nothing getting away from that. But hey, just two articles, watching the times, you know what I'm saying? As you can see, man, there's not gonna be much that the West could do in order to negotiate with the Russians, man. Nothing at all, because their only strength was money. The only strength was, hey, don't do this or we're gonna hit you with these sanctions. It's gonna mess up your economy, and you don't want to go through that. We're gonna cut off the pipeline between your country and our countries, and your number one consumer is out the way. Well, the Russians, guess what they did? They went and found another consumer, man. So they went and they made more deals with the Chinese. They made more deals with the East Indians, all right, which is another thing. If you look into the beginning part of this article, all right, it says Russian exports of crude oil, coal, and fertilizers are on the rise. All right, now everything excluding, the fertilizer part, that's fuels. Those are actual fuels you need in order to keep the energy going, and fertilizers is essential as well, man. Them Europeans, they're going through agricultural crisis over there. So the fact that they, switched off the fertilizers too, man, that goes to show you, man, them Europeans is really, they're really, feeling the squeeze over there, and actually the word I was looking for was motivator, and that might be a motivator, as far as them turning on Babylon, man. All right, so let's go back into Isaiah chapter 13. I'm gonna start from 17. Once again, it says, behold, I will stir up the Medes against them, which shall not regard silver, and as for gold, they shall not delight in it. All right, because they already have their own alternative sources of income. Continuing on, verse 18, their bows also shall dash the young men to pieces, and they shall have no pity on the fruit of the womb. Their eyes shall not spare children. All right, because it's going to be nuclear missiles. All right. Verse 19. In Babylon, the glory of kingdoms, the beauty of the Chaldees' excellency, shall be as when Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai overthrew Sodom and Gomorrah, meaning it's going to be, this place going to be destroyed by fire. All right, and if you have eyes to see and ears to hear this truth, man, you could see it. You could see how this place is going to be destroyed, man. All right, ain't no freaking as far as the lake a lake of fire goes, ain't no place where you die and then the Lord sends you down and then you burn forever. No, that's just a manipulation tactic, implemented by these elites in their Christianity branch, in order to keep people in a big state of deception, and ultimately for mass control. All right, verse 20. It shall never be inhabited, neither shall it be dwelt from generation to generation. Neither shall the Arabian pitch tent there, neither shall the shepherds make their fold there. But wild beasts of the desert shall lie there, and their houses shall be full of doleful creatures, and owls shall dwell there, and satyrs shall dance there. All right, so this is basically going on to, describe the aftermath of this place after all the missiles hit it, man. Basically, it's going to be a desert-like place, Verse 22, and wild beasts of the island shall cry in their desolate houses, and dragons in their pleasant palaces. And her time is near to come, and her days shall not be prolonged. And that's, one of the main, motivators right there for us, man, is that this place, is on this, it's on this quick way out. We don't have much to wait for, just wait for these prophecies, to come to pass, and, we out of here, man. All right, so we have another one. All right, beast, hate. There it is right there. All right, so book of Revelations, chapter 16, verse 7, chapter 17, verse 16. And it reads, and the 10 horns which thou sawest upon the beast, all right, which them 10 horns represent the different countries in the EU. All right, it says, these shall hate the whore. All right, so you see right there, these countries that were once in league with the beast, all right, what's going to happen? They're going to turn against them. All right, and the reason why is we're starting to see it manifest, man, because ultimately the U.S. is bringing them down into something they can't handle, all because of the beef, basically. And this could play as a motivator, man. Here it is, the U.S. and Russia got problems or whatever. Russia took over a country. Now the EU is paying for it by cutting off a pipeline from themselves to the Russians, man. Now they gotta implement curfews. You got whole cities that are running out of electricity. It won't be long now till they start turning on the whore, man. All right, so I'm gonna read this again, Revelation 17 and 16, and it reads, and the 10 horns which thou sawest upon the beast, these shall hate the whore, and shall make her desolate and naked, and shall eat her flesh and burn her with fire. Meaning that these countries will also shoot thermonuclear missiles over here as well, man. All right, and it goes on right here, verse 17. For Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai put it in their hearts to fulfill His will and to agree. Right, and that that's a beautiful one right there. You know what I'm saying? Because it backs up with Proverbs chapter 21. All right, where it says the king's heart, Proverbs 21 and 1, the king's heart is in the hand of Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Shai. As the rivers of water, he turneth it whithersoever he will. All right, so it's really, nothing to Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Shai to have these nations that were supposedly on the same side, turn against each other. And very much it happened in the same sense as, the story, not the story, the account, that I brought out through the Spirit, in last week. Let me see. Called for a fast. Let me see. Yeah, right there. All right, so it's very much like this, in the book of Second Chronicles, chapter 20. All right, where the king of Judah, Yahweh, that was his name in the Hebrew, he called for a fast. And what ended up happening is the enemies that were against us decided to turn against each other. All right, so let's go into that. All right, it says Second Chronicles chapter 20. I'm gonna start from the top, and it reads, "And it came to pass after this also that the children of Moab, which is the modern day Chinese, and the children of Ammon, which is the modern day Japanese, right, and with them other beside the Ammonites, came against Yahweh to battle." So you had two nations, man. Two nations that were coming against us for battle. All right. And it reads, "Then there came some and that told Yahweh saying, There cometh a great multitude against thee from beyond the sea on this side Syria. And behold, they be in like Hazazon Tamar, which is En Gedi. And Yahweh feared and set himself to seek Yahweh Ba'ashim Yahweh Shai, and proclaimed the fast throughout all Judah." All right, so you know what I'm saying. When you in a tough situation, what do? You seek Yahweh Ba'ashim Yahweh Shai, man. And one of the ways you do that is by fasting. Okay, which I broke this down, last week. When you fast, the flesh, debilitates, but you get stronger in the spirit, and therefore your connection to the Lord, increases, man. All right. So verse 4, "And Judah gathered themselves together to ask of Yahweh Ba'ashim Yahweh Shai. Even out of all the cities of Judah came they, so they came to seek Yahweh Ba'ashim Yahweh Shai." All right. So they were there praying, man. Now let's jump down, for the sake of time. All right. Let me see. All right. So let's go. All right, let's go. Let's start with verse 15. All right, and it reads, "And he said, Hearken ye, all Judah, and the inhabitants of Jerusalem, and thou King Yahweh. Thus saith Yahweh Ba'ashim Yahweh Shai unto you, Be not afraid nor dismayed by reason of this great multitude." All right, because you had three different nations coming against us. Yeah, you had the Moabites, you had the Ammonites. All right, but you also had Edomites that were coming against us. And what brings that out, if I'm not mistaken, should be, right there, verse 10. All right, you jump up to verse 10. It says, "And now the children of Ammon and Moab and Mount Seir." All right, now Mount Seir represents the Edomites. Okay, it's just a so-called white man. That's his, modern day, true nationality, of the so-called white man. All right, Edom. So continue on. It says, "Whom thou wouldest not let Israel invade, but they came out of the land of Egypt, but they turned from them and destroyed them not." All right, so you had Edomites that was in the mix in this occasion rising up against Israel, man. All right, so going back to verse 15. All right, and it reads, "And he said, Hearken ye all Judah and ye inhabitants of Jerusalem, and thou King Yahweh. For thus said Yahweh Ba'ashim Yahweh Shai unto you, Be not afraid nor dismayed by reason of this great multitude, for the battle is not yours, but Yahweh Ba'ashim Yahweh Shai's. All right, tomorrow go ye down against them. Behold, they come up by the cliff of Ziz, and ye shall find them at the end of the brook, before the wilderness of Jeruel." All right, verse 17. "Ye shall not need to fight in this battle. Set yourselves, stand ye still, and see the salvation of Yahweh Ba'ashim Yahweh Shai with you, O Judah and Jerusalem. Fear not, nor be dismayed. Tomorrow go out against them, for Yahweh Ba'ashim Yahweh Shai will be with you." All right, and that's basically, the Lord comforting Israel, letting them know that they're not even going to need to pick up anything. They're not even going to need to move a finger the next day. Verse 18. And Yahushua bowed his head with his face to the ground. And all Judah and the inhabitants of Jerusalem fell before Yahweh Shem Yahushai, worshiping Yahweh Shem Yahushai. So the Lord answered their prayer, basically. All right, verse 19. And the Levites of the children of the Kohathites and of the children of the Korites stood up to praise Yahweh Shem Yahushai, the power of Israel, with a loud voice on high. All right, because that's the priests back then. Verse 20. And they rose early in the morning and went forth into the wilderness of Tekoa. And as they went forth, Yahushua stood and said, Hear me, O Judah, and ye inhabitants of Jerusalem. Believe in Yahweh Shem Yahushai your power, so shall ye be established. Believe his prophets, so shall ye prosper. And when he had consulted with the people, he appointed singers unto Yahweh Shem Yahushai that should praise the beauty of holiness as they went out before the army, and to say, Praise Yahweh Shem Yahushai, for his mercy endureth forever. So they was giving praise, man. They was in the right mind state because the Lord comforted them and let them know that they're not even going to need to fight, Verse 22, and when they began to sing and to praise, Yahweh Shem Yahushai set ambushments against the children of Moab and Ammon and Mount Seir, which were come against Judah, and they were smitten. For the children of Ammon and Moab stood up against against the inhabitants of Mount Seir, utterly to slay and destroy them. Utterly to slay and destroy them. And when they had made an end of the inhabitants of Mount Seir, everyone helped to destroy each other. All right, so that there is an example, all right, just to bring it in, that there, what we just read in this account is an example of how Yahweh Shem Yahushai could turn our enemies, which are confederate against us, to get them to become against each other, and it's the very same thing. Here it is. You had three nations. All right. You had Moab, the modern day Chinese. You had Ammon, the modern day, Japanese. All right. You had Mount Seir, which represented the capital of Edom, which Edom is the modern day true biblical nationality of the so-called white man's. All right. You had these three nations that came together in league to destroy us, to basically, conquer us. And Yahweh Shem Yahushai, upon hearing, Israel, all right, the supplications of Israel, all right, what did he do? He set these three nations against each other, man. All right, and the very same thing is kind of playing out now. Where you have, the NATO, the EU, right, the European Union. You got all these nations, basically that are ran by heathens, and none of these nations are ran by us, man. These nations are ran by our enemies. And guess what? Yahweh Shem Yahushai has them, at each other's throats, man. And it won't be long now till, one side jumps, man. All right. So, hey, with that, I'm going to say, call halal Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Rakah HaKodash, for giving me the spirit to do this lesson. All right, Lord willing, this lesson was edifying, just watching the times. With that, I'm going to say, Shalom, on to the next.